Today I'm going to show you how to do a curled under kind of style, but you'll set your hair in pins as it's cooling, and then once you kind of rake it out with your fingers, it'll be more of a flipped, looser type of style. All you'll need is a comb, a flat iron, a little bit of hairspray, and some duckbill clips. I use this size. This allows you to really kind of have an easy time getting into each section. That was my flat iron telling me it's ready to go. That's right, a GHD heats up in 30 seconds. That's the flat iron I'm using. It's called a GHD. But you want to start with your bottom section, and you put the flat iron in and kind of bend it under as you go. That needs a little bit more curl. And then I usually just let the bottom sit. I don't wrap it up with the pins, so it's not super curled. And then we'll work our way around to the back. It's kind of helpful to hang on to the section as you're going through it and make sure you got it all straight. You can see from the side or you can check the back. So then I'll do the side over here. You can see as I'm pulling the flat iron through, I've bent it the entire way. So it's not the kind of look where it's straight and then just curled under at the bottom. So it's kind of got a uniform curl throughout. And so you compare your sides. This side curled a little bit too much for me. So I'm going to kind of go through and straighten it a little bit more. There we go. A little bit of a softer curl. So at this point you can check the back and see how that's looking. I usually grab one higher section and do that one under just to break up the bottom and allow that kind of first layer back there to do its own curl. You don't want to go through and comb it out really fast afterwards because each section is still hot. So let down your second section. And at this point, you'll start doing the same motion, but afterwards you'll go ahead and pin it in place. So you take the flat iron, get as close as you can to the root, and pull it through nice and slow. Make sure you have a good bend to those ends there. And then you'll grab the section and twist it up and stick the pin in there. It'll make more sense as I'm going around. The higher you pull your hair up as you're flat ironing, the more lift you'll have. Okay, so I got that one. I've left my hand in there the entire time, and I'm just kind of following the same pattern I did with the flat iron in that it was curled under and pinned it up in place. Back here, it might be easier to take a smaller section when you're working around the back of your hair, just because you can't really see what's going on there. But the same idea, you want to pull it straight up. And keep it in your hand. Twist the ends under, and whatever finger you're comfortable using to hold it in place, put that there. Make sure you go ahead and kind of scrape the clip against your scalp to make sure you've grabbed the whole section. Now this section that I'm doing right here is my token resistant section. I don't know if it's just me or if everybody has that certain part of their hair that never ever cooperates. I always need to recurl it. I always need to flat iron it a few times. I don't know what is going on, but it's just resistant. So you can see you've got the loop in there. And then you'll work your way around to the front. If you want kind of a face framing bend, you can go ahead and grab this section and kind of turn it in towards your face and follow all the way down. I don't have anything on my hair besides a Quash uplifting foam, which I may have said this already, but I put that in before I blow dried and then blow dry upside down. So go through, make sure you didn't miss any sections. Got all my curls in there. They don't need to be perfect, but just enough to where you've got them all wrapped up. So this section, kind of like when you're curling your hair with a curling iron, I'm going to divide that in two. So I'm going to get this out of my way. And I like to use the claw clips to hold those sections so they don't get any creases in them. And we'll divide this top section in three. Make sure you always comb through. Notice how I'm holding it straight up. I'm putting the flat iron in and also pulling that straight up and making sure I bend throughout. And then you just want to keep it in the shape. And stick the pin in there. You can get these pins anywhere. They might be called alligator pins or clips or roller clips. A lot of times, this is kind of a way to style your hair without rollers, but it's doing this kind of the same thing a roller would do. Okay, so I did the two sides first, and now I'm going to do the center section. Make sure it's really combed out. So I'm holding this one straight up. Get the flat iron in as close as you can to the root, and bend as you go. Press down hard enough to make sure you're flattening the whole section of the hair, but not so hard to where you're kind of pulling through and getting a crease. Okay, so we've got those back there. I'm going to finish up with this section. You hold straight up, flat iron in, and bend as you go. That one you've got a little bit too bent at the ends. There you go. So you can see you've got a nice round shape. And then kind of make it into a loop and put your clip in there. And this side we'll divide into two. If you have a little bit of the éclage in your hair before you do this style, when you put your flat iron at the root, it's going to reheat that root lifter and make it even more effective. It's just the best root lifter. Okay, so you put that in the clip, and then we'll do our last section here. Comb straight up. Turn your wrist as you're going through. So you get this nice bend. If your ends stick out a little bit, that's not the worst thing in the world. They're still going to want to be bent since the whole section is bent around it. So I'm just going to kind of pan around and show you and double check my section. Looks really attractive with my kind of makeshift mullet here. But by not including the bottom section in, that'll prevent it from being like super short. So at this point you could just kind of walk around the house if you're comfortable with that, with your hair in clips like this, and let it cool completely. And then afterwards I'll show you how to kind of brush it out and maybe tease it a little bit for kind of a finished style.